Hello, everybody. One of our players is currently having a bit of a technical difficulty. They're loading in still, but we're going to go ahead and get started because we're on a little bit of a schedule there, but that's okay. She's loading in quickly, and we're going to go ahead and just run through the reading. Hi, I'm your Dungeon Master, Azuloth. This is our new Val'Ghast Prologue game, a break in tradition. This is the first episode, so if you're here with us for the first time, this is a good time to start watching our stuff. Uh, we don't do cameras because uh, I have all these pretty maps, and this helps you get more into the setting and the lore and what's going on in the environment that the players are in. And so we don't really use cameras because what you're looking at is the same things that the players are looking at. Kind of puts you in a more of a I'm sitting next to them on the at the same table kind of feeling. That's the idea here. A couple other things about our schedule, real quick. This game, we will have the next episode in 2 weeks on the 27th, and then the third and final episode will be on June 10th. Our regularly scheduled Dark Heresy game will be on the 15th, and then our next Lost in Theros game will be on the 25th. And that's what the current schedule looks like at the moment. Um, we do have we don't have any current signups. However, we do have openings in a couple of other games, so feel free to drop by our Discord and join our community. Anyone who's a full member can play in any game that has openings. And it's really easy to become a full member. All you have to do is, read the rules, agree to the rules, and, not be a dick. Um, with that in mind, if you want to get caught up on things, we also have a YouTube. We're pretty much caught up. The only stuff that isn't on there is Lost in Theros. Lost in Theros doesn't go on YouTube because of reasons, and the most recent Dark Heresy hasn't been uploaded yet because been busy. But I'm gonna get around to it. Don't worry. If you really want to watch it, it's also here on Twitch. With that in mind, we have some remarks for the people in the audience. Please, what was that?
My ping.
Oh, we have some remarks for people in the audience. I haven't looked at your ping. How bad is? Oh, 91. That's not as bad as it was before. um, we have. I, I I would like to say for the audience that it would be really appreciated if you would cheer on the players and chat and talk about things and get involved. We have some nice emotes. If you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, feel free to follow. And you can get, on your road to becoming a member of our Twitch community as well with some really cool emotes. Uh, with that in mind, please don't, tell us how to do our jobs in the chat. I don't really have much of a tolerance for it. Let me run the game and let the players play their characters. And that's really pretty much it. Uh, with that said, I hope you have a good time. And I hope everyone here, including my players, have a good time. Sin, how's it looking for the load in? How you doing? Are you still with us?
It's slower than mud.
Okay.
I'm still with you. I've actually got my character sheet up. It's slow as mud.
Okay.
So theoretically, I should have a shiny thing somewhere.
Yeah, you should have a shiny thing somewhere. So let's go ahead and introduce our characters. We're going to do it in Discord order. So let's start with Cynthia. Go ahead, Cynthia. Introduce yourself and who you
Hey
will be
y'all.
playing.
I'm Cynthia. I'm going to be playing Sergeant Catherine of the 12th Salamanders, and she don't take no shit from nobody.
Okay. Next up, we have Darrow Doris. Go ahead, Doris.
Yo, I'm gonna be playing Jericho Farwind, which is a very scarred barbarian, and he has had a rough life.
It's a hard knock life for him. All right. Uh, Jer, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Jer. I'll be playing Barlow Mardoja of the Mardoja House and Duchy. He's had a pretty easy life, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't been busy.
Uh, and next up is Ram. Go ahead, Ram.
Sure. This is Ram. I'll be playing Saffron, a elven monk, kind of an outcast of the Cruinthe.
Okay. And last but not least is Gavi. Go ahead, Gavi.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm in some of the other games, but today I am playing Lieutenant Wynn. He will show up as Thaddeus, but you do not want to call him Thaddeus. That is immediate grounds to be ice knifed. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. With that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get started. Do you think it's safe for me to preload some music in? Do you think your computer's going to catch fire if I do that?
Go for it. We'll see what happens, although I cannot find whatever my shiny is.
Your shiny is in your inventory. It is a thing, and then there's a math symbol, and then there's a number after it. You have two of them. Those are your
All right,
shinies.
like I said, okay. I have been in slower mud floods.
Mm.
Oh,
You find it?
is it more than just my longbow and leather?
It's just the longbow and leather. Those are your shinies.
Yay!
Okay.
Good shinies. Nice shinies.
Okay, let's preload that music then. All right, any questions before we get started? I got 2, 3 okays. I got 4 okays. I'm looking for 5 okays. Can I get a 5th okay?
Oh,
There we go.
Okay.
No, I'm talking to the PowerShell right now.
oh. There's 5 of us, so I'm like, oh, did I do something wrong? Am I
I'm
missing
looking.
something?
I'm looking for a response somewhere. Like, where do I put it?
Where do I input the
Got a
data?
5th okay. The king is dropping.
It's dropping
Yep.
It's dropping slowly, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
Lord Almighty.
All right. I'll do my read-in, and then we'll get started.
Bab.
The Sovereign Kingdom of Cruinthe is a nation that is on the brink of all-out war. In the streets of its capital, Forteth, there is a symphony at work. The crashing of hammer upon steel, forging arms and armor, are the beat of the drums. The marching of boots against cobblestone is the blast of the horns. Parents holding their children, many for the last time before they are irrevocably changed, are the strings. It has become a cacophonous place since the first expeditionary forces were dispatched south to the region of Val'Ghast to hold the line in a kingdom that no longer exists, against an enemy that has every intention of wiping humanity from the face of the earth. The Ta'alian Crusade, an army of demons legions strong, has cut a bloody swath from the south of the Cheyenne Sand Sea all the way to Val'Ghast, killing entire nations and city-states as they go. Nothing has blunted their unholy crusade for nearly a decade until they met the first expeditionary. While they buy time, the nation of Cruinthe prepares for total war. Failure means complete annihilation. Let me know when you guys are loaded.
I'm good.
I think I'm loaded. Oh wait, no, it says loading 34%.
Okay.
Hey, I'm down into 4 digits on my ping.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Respectable.
That's only what? How many minutes behind is that? Somebody do the math real quick.
It's about 2 seconds.
It's
Yeah, 2 seconds.
yeah.
I was gonna say I'm not doing math on a Friday evening. That's
Yeah.
what the dice are for.
Okay.
Damn straight.
All right, I think you guys should all be loaded by now, so we're gonna move over.
Yep. Cozy.
The campfire fizzles and sputters in the rain. It has been a week since you all met with Commander Hallworst, Archmage Deep Hollow, and Princess Superior Melissa Justier. You've acquired rations and means of transportation and set off to Malin Forest, the nearest known location where Ithe attack patrols and merchants. The camp just south of the Aran Lakes sits atop a hill looking over the road. Each of you are thinking about the conversation that you all had with those big important figures. No one is expecting the impossible. Make an attempt. Don't waste your lives, Commander Hallworst said. Be careful of their magic. Watch for ambushes, the Archmage said. I will consider this a success if you all come back alive, regardless of the diplomatic situation. Yours is the harder mission from the previous group, the princess said. The paperwork says get treaties signed, but the tone of the conversation was that they did not expect it to go well. They expected you all to make contact, fight, and pull out. A couple of military frontliners fresh from 1st Expeditionary, a couple of Mardosians, and a half-elf of dubious origin. Is every one of you dedicated to the cause? Some of you have scars to prove it. The objectives Hallworst gave were clear. Head west along the highway, enter the forest, check the bridge, clear both sides of the highway to Mardosia, and if or when the initial attempt at diplomacy fails, fight like hell and pull out in either direction, toward Mardosia or toward the capital. As far off dawn in the east crests the horizon, the fire sputters out. You'll reach the forest today. And fire sputters out. And dawn. The scene is yours.
I'm not used to all that traveling. Been a long time since I've left the confines of my duchy and the training grounds.
I'm just tired of the rain.
It seems the fire is too. I guess we didn't keep it lit well enough.
Rain falls equally on the just, and even more so on the unjust.
Which of those are we?
Today, we are the just.
Hey, Vin, how do we end up with these guys again?
Bureaucracy.
I guess.
Look, as long as we all work together, I think we'll be fine.
Haven't died yet.
Let's keep it that way, hopefully.
Alright, according to the map, Game Master, which direction do we need to go in?
You know you would need to head west. West is, left to right. Left. So, where you guys currently are is sort of in one of these places near one of the highways. You've camped off the highway, obviously, in a more elevated and sheltered position. And this lush ground between you is a part of the land that becomes a sort of stream or river when the region enters into the rainy season. What was that? Okay.
Are we into the rainy season?
No, currently you guys are in summer, I believe. Yeah, you guys should be in. You guys are actually in spring. It's only been a week. You guys are. It's like the first month of the year. Okay, the music just decided it was going to make itself louder and louder for no reason. Sorry, I had to cut it.
So is spring the rainy season?
No, it's after the rainy season. So
Okay.
the rain that you have right now is light. The rain that is normal in the rainy season is downpours. A lot of that has to do with, snowbanks sort of evaporating, part of the regular water cycle, off of the land and off of the mountains and such, creating large cloud formations within the barriers of the Darthaks, which concentrates the rainfall in the region, as well as melting, temporary glaciers up in the northern reaches, which cause, additional water flow in the main rivers, which also burst their banks and spread out. So these sorts of little channels here are normal. They're usually more lush, and they're sort of like, a feature of the land. You guys are used to them. You would know what they are, and you would know what they will be if it rains too hard. So,
Do we know how far we are from the Ithe?
from the Ithe,
Yeah, because that's our mission, right?
yes, you guys are a couple of days from the heart of Malin Forest. Shouldn't take you very long to get to the forest, and then the bridge, which is, the objective. You're supposed to, check on the bridge there, is about halfway in there. Maybe like a
Okay.
day and a half or two. Um, so,
Okay. I guess Barlow would look around and say, "Are we ready to depart, or do we need more preparations?"
I'm ready to go. I'll
I
carry
was
what
ready
isn't.
before the dawn. We're burning daylight. We need to get moving.
Sounds fine to me.
Agreed. Let's move.
Barlow would like to at least scout ahead as they move along.
okay.
Oh,
Is that what you were also going to do,
that's
Cynthia?
what. Yep, that's her specialty.
All right. Go ahead and make a perception check, both Barlow and Catherine.
Perception.
All right.
Groans. Perception checks.
Broke something.
No, perception check is fine. It's getting to my sheet that's the problem. There we go. Perception attributes.
There we go.
Why are you running so freaking slow?
Oh, it was almost a nat 20.
So close.
It tricked me.
Almost doesn't count.
Yeah,
This man saw the individual raindrops.
exactly. 16.
Who's measuring right there?
I am, because I'm dumb.
Okay. It's like, what's going on right here?
I was
What's...
trying to have my guy move a little bit, but then it just did that.
Okay, so what you do is you take off the ruler, and you use the grabby thing, the select tokens button, and you click and drag.
Yeah. It looks like almost a crosshair.
Got it. Okay.
Rolled. Did it work?
Yes, the
Okay,
roll
it goes.
the roll did work. It just showed up
3 hours later.
7 seconds later. It's okay.
Now,
All
out
right.
of curiosity,
Oh, that sucked.
Out of curiosity, what?
Oh,
so in our group, who are the ones that are, more martial and look like they could take a fight, or the ones who look like they need to be protected, or it would to Jericho anyway?
Well, this is a good opportunity for each of you to describe your character. So
Great question.
So why don't you start with yourself, Jericho?
That's fair. All right, Jericho is big. He is 6'4", and he's very muscular. He's also kind of scary because his face is covered in scars from something that must have happened in his past, and he has a perpetual scowl on his face. You actually probably noticed that even though he talks gruff and seems kind of scary, he's actually kind of a nice guy beyond all of that.
I guess I'll
Catherine
describe...
is.
Oh, go ahead.
Catherine is in a red and black. She's average height, blonde hair, blue eyes, and has a very nice longbow. She is a forward recon scout from the 1st Expeditionary Force. And she tends to favor her left side.
Mhm.
She's more than capable of taking care of herself.
Barlow is rather tall. He's not skinny. He has some muscle mass to him, but he is rather lithe and more of an acrobatic build. He is dressed in very fine clothing and leather armor. However, it is dyed to help him blend into the forested surroundings. He usually has a pretty friendly smile on his face and probably seems like a genuinely nice guy. He seems a little surprisingly more at home in nature than you would expect.
Saffron is kind of an athletic build for an elf. He has a shaved head and brilliant green eyes. He is wearing an orange robe, soft boots, and a shirt of yellow embroidered with elven script. His arms are wrapped in cloth, which cover tattooed arms of twisted and scarred muscle. He carries a quarterstaff that has also been carved with intricate designs of elven symbols.
And Wynn is wearing similar red and black colors as Catherine, though he basically is only protected by a cloak. He wears no armor. At first glance, he would probably be the one that you would think needs the most protection. But you said like a week of travel, right?
Yes.
So in the week of travel so far, you will have seen him do magic spells to keep the fire going, to mend things that have been broken. And it's apparent that though at first glance he may not seem the soldierly type, he's very clearly part also of the 1st Expeditionary and knows how to take care of himself. He occasionally will rub at his left shoulder.
Is that everyone? That should be everyone, right?
Yep.
Okay. So as for your perception tests, you do both notice a fire smoke column coming from the highway where the general camp for the highway is located. If you zoom out, you'll see there's a man standing by the highway.
You see him.
And his fire is still going at the moment. So you both spot him pretty easily.
Ah,
Barlow would like to approach
I
the
guess
man.
we need to head that direction.
Well, you can approach the man at your own pace if you'd like. It is your scene.
Jericho would absolutely stick to Barlow. I think that based off of the way you described Barlow, he would definitely seem like the one that Jericho would have to protect.
Somewhat.
Catherine will sort of lag behind since these guys want to take her usual spot, and we'll play Overwatch.
Okay.
Wynn is very used to taking the back as well. That's kind of where he hangs out, so he will continue to watch behind them.
Okay. Feel free to move yourself.
Saffron won't go a direct route. He'll kind of take a more stealthy route and observe before he approaches.
If you'd like to roll for stealth, you may.
Okay.
Oh.
24. That's really good. You sort of slink between the rocks and the large bushes easily, generally keeping cover between you and this person that's been spotted on the highway there. I just want to make sure I get all of you guys in frame. Okay. So Barlow, you're the one that approaches. Do you say anything to him? He seems occupied.
Yeah, so Barlow would come from a, obvious direction. So he'd actually probably walk down the path and then start walking towards the man. And he would announce himself and be like, "Greetings, stranger. Are you friendly?"
Why wouldn't I be?
Just more a question if you would like company or not.
Is everyone so paranoid here on the road?
Things are taking a rather perilous turn in the country of late, so you never know who you might run into.
I wasn't aware.
It's only the beginning. Do you mind if I sit down with you?
Oh, no, of course not. I was getting ready to get going.
Oh. May I ask what your name is? My name is Barlow Mardoja.
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
Are you one of the Duke's sons?
Side note, I don't actually know who Barlow's parents is. Would it be one of the Duke's sons?
You would have to be directly related. That or you're a legitimized bastard, so...
I would go with one of the sons then.
Okay.
If I can do that.
Sure, you can be one of the sons.
Yes, I am. One of the middle sons. A bit on the younger side. My father has had a lot of children.
Well, my lord, it seems that we're both a bit far from where we expect to be. I was hoping that I would be on my way to Fordeath by now. However, I was waylaid a little bit by a salamander on the road. The thing chased me over a stream, and here I am, a bit out of the way from where I expected to be. Managed to get myself back to the road, though, so,
Oh.
that was good.
Are you feeling alright? It didn't hurt you, did it?
No, I got away from it. They can be a little slow sometimes, and they're not the brightest. If you keep your wits about you, you should be able to get away from them. No, I'm just a traveling merchant. And he gestures to his pack of wares.
Did he give his name? I don't think I caught it.
He hasn't yet. He might have forgotten.
Barlow would just take a really quick look around just to make sure that there's no salamanders just lurking around for some reason.
Okay, make a perception check.
I just did that. Okay, there we go. Had to remember how to do it.
17. You'd also like to what?
I'd also like to roll a perception if you don't mind.
You may. You're kind of looking at him more than anything else, really.
Yeah.
He's the closest. He's the one you'd have to smash first.
Right.
Barlow, there's a, pack of wild salamanders, maybe 3 miles to the south. You're kind of, up on this platform, and you can sort of see over these rolling plains of the Havenel. They're not as rolly as some of the plains of the Navarre, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The Navarre is much more hilly, as you're aware. The Haveneld is a lot flatter. And you're in the Haveneld. So this region, a lot flatter. You can definitely see quite far out to your general maximum vision range until there's forest or a hill in your way. You can see there's a pack of salamanders that are just grazing. You know that they're omnivores, these creatures, and that many people do use them as a source of meat. They do keep them on ranches. So they may be, those salamanders in particular may be domestic for all you know.
All right. Barlow would say, there... Oh.
Wind moves up as the conversation continues.
That I wasn't expecting that. It distracted me. Lost my train of thought, sorry. Barlow would just kind of say, oh, it seems like there's some to the south. I don't know if they're wild or not. I would probably refrain from heading that direction for now.
You mean the west, he says.
I thought you said...
Well, I said south. He says you mean the west.
If they come over here, I remember a recipe my old mom taught me for Mander's chops. They're pretty good.
I am quite partial to a salamander stew myself. But... how rude of me. This is my friend Jericho. He is part of my team. He looks big and scary, but I assure you, he's much nicer than he looks. No offense, Jericho.
I was making no judgment.
But, as for the west comment, I do see some to the south right now, and he would point them out.
That's the west. He points at the same group.
Well, you see, Barlow would then go and point out the, direction of the sun and the time of day and explain to him that that's actually the south.
Okay. He looks a bit sheepish, and he says, "Oh my, I must have been more lost than I thought."
Barlow would have a general idea of where they are, correct?
Yeah, you guys would.
Do we have maps on our person?
Yeah, you can show him where he is. He'll say, "I thought I was here," and he points at the highway between Sorath and Fordath, and he says, "Honestly, I was quite confused why that forest was there. So you kind of helped me out here a bit."
Well, I'm glad that we could be of help. Barlow would look at the man's wares, just kind of at a glance.
It's mostly stuff brought in from somewhere else in Cruinthe. Looks like he's a Morith trader. So it's wares, mainly they're all kept in like these sort of brass jars that are tied to his pack. Whatever's inside, he hasn't shared it with you. So it may even already be purchased. He's just delivering. So
Oh. Barlow will kind of chuckle a little bit, and say, are you selling anything currently, or just delivering?
oh, do you have coin to trade with? I certainly have some things that are free for trade.
Let me check. Do I have coin?
Sergeant Catherine thinks. I like that the camera pans when you guys do that. So when you type in stuff like that, like Barlow needs to ask his name, the camera does pan to your character and shows that thought bubble.
Yeah.
For the stream. So it does give you guys that little like moment where it's like, oh, these are this character's thoughts. So you guys feel free to do that.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
How do I do the...
You click on yourself.
Okay.
And then you type in the chat and then you hit enter. What are they talking? See, Saffron did. What are they talking about?
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. Barlow will look through his pouch and say, I have a couple coins, not too terribly much. I'm worried that I wouldn't actually be able to purchase anything.
Oh, well, I mean, what are you looking for?
Probably potions.
Okay. Do you ask him for potions?
Yes, healing potions specifically.
You might be aware that there's a bit of a premium on those right now, mainly because a lot of them are being diverted to the south. The adventuring types don't seem to really be having much way of getting a hold of them either. I don't really trade in those very often. I keep one for myself and that's it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's perfectly alright. We just happened upon you by chance, so wasn't expecting potions anyway.
He nods and he says, well, I think, we ought to, I have to go that way now. Oh man, I was confused, so confused. Alright, well, I don't want to hold you guys up. You guys look like you're doing something important, so...
I'd like to roll an insight on him. I'm getting a vibe.
Sure. Go ahead.
Can Barlow also roll an insight check?
You may, of course, roll an insight check on him. Oh.
Is that a 1 or a 20?
That's a 20.
That's a 21.
Oh.
Yeah, that's 20.
While this conversation is happening, what are the other three of you doing?
I was gonna say.
Catherine is keeping an eye on people and watching to see if we're gonna get ambushed.
Okay. What were you going
to? Basically the same. Just verifying that there's nothing that is planning to attack us from the outskirts.
Okay, and Saffron?
Barlow's conversation is boring the hell out of Saffron, so he's looking around for any flowers or any type of herbs, because he does make the best healing potions that, come on. Why would you ask a merchant when you know, Barlow, that I make the best potions?
Oh.
All right, so military guys, give me a perception check, both of you, for active, radar, and Saffron, go ahead and give me a survival check for finding herbs.
When you said military guy, did you mean Jericho too?
No, I did not mean Jericho.
No, okay.
I meant Catherine and Thaddeus. Or Win.
Don't you fucking dare.
I'll cut you.
Did we lose Catherine?
Yeah, she's gonna try to refresh.
Okay.
So
I got
she missed the
Okay. So we'll go to the insight check first, and then we'll go to Saffron just to give her a little bit of time to load.
Mhm.
So the insight check is basically, he just seems kind of nervous now and embarrassed mostly, because perhaps he's been going in the wrong direction for quite some time now. And he may have a timetable or some other reason to get to his destination as soon as possible. So he's realizing now that he is probably very, very late. Does that make sense there, Jericho?
It does, yes. Thank you.
Barlow, you don't really have much of an insight as to what's going on with him, other than he seems anxious to get back on the trail, and that he seems to be more inclined to leave you guys alone.
Okay. When he said he needed to go this way, was he indicating in the correct direction?
Yeah, towards Fordeath. Yeah.
Alright, making sure.
Uh,
all right. Oh,
Cynthia, you're back.
I hope I'm back.
Are you able to
I'm
roll?
sorry about that. My entire laptop. It's loading now.
Okay.
You can roll for me. I trust you. You're my GM.
Okay, I will click the button. And perception, normal.
Boom.
22
Yeah.
for you, Catherine.
that's pretty good.
Okay,
That's
so
about what she should be doing.
yep. So Catherine and Thaddeus, you both kind of are looking around. You're keeping an eye.
Stop calling him Thaddeus.
I'm sorry, Win. It's his first name.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Win
Ice
and
knife the GM.
you cast ice knife at the GM, and he spits out ice monsters at you. I don't know.
Oh no.
Win and Catherine, you two are looking around, kind of keeping an eye out for threats, doing what your job basically is. And you do notice that there are some people coming down the road towards you from the east.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Great. What do they look like?
So you kind of hear this blast of horns, and you see some green and black banners with mandibles of an ant on the field.
Oh.
Flying on some poles. They go ahead and give me a history check, both of you.
That would be Win and
There'll be Win and
I know,
Catherine.
but I've got to get to.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got to get my sheet back because
Yeah.
you're gonna have to put the button for me again.
Okay. History.
Push the button, Max.
I will push the button. Okay, 16 and 17.
Man, we're good at what we do.
Yeah, these are
Yes, we are.
These are actually Mardosians. These are house troops that are patrolling the highway. They're kind of fulfilling their feudal contract. They generally kind of move in these directions between their own land, the borders of their land, and towards the nearest crown city. If they're adjacent, Mardosia is. So Mardosians move from the duchy capital itself along this highway that you're on towards Fordeath, back and forth all the time, in squads or in full units. These are actually accompanying a caravan that is moving towards Mardosia. So they are moving quite slowly, but they are moving along. The first group of people that you see are basically the forward unit of these Mardosians. They're generally well disposed towards the military, as far as you guys are aware. But they are house troops. They don't fall under your jurisdiction. They belong to their duke. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might listen to Barlow a little bit, but Not in any official capacity.
No, they don't have to, but they might. So.
Mhm.
All right. So these guys are coming up the road right now.
I'd actually be more willing to listen to Win or.
Huh?
She said more, not or.
Oh, gotcha.
Saffron, you're poking around in the weeds and stuff for some herbs, and you're not really getting a big quantity. Spring needs to spring a little bit better. You're not very far into spring right now, and some of the plants that you need are not really ready yet. So you're finding them, but you're like, this needs like another week before I should pick this.
He'd just go ragweed, dandelion, sumac. It's not ready yet.
No.
Would he notice the people coming in, because he'd probably take evasive action to hide himself if he saw these people approaching?
Let's see here. Your passive perception would be 12.
He's looking at the rock.
No. We're going to say no. The blast of horns, when they kind of announce themselves, they already see you, is basically it.
Which way were they coming from?
They're coming from the right side, the east.
Okay. And, which character was asking if they'd seen them or heard them?
That would be Saffron.
Okay. If we have a chance to kind of catch Saffron's attention, knowing that we're all kind of covering each other and watching, Win will 10 feet away, because he can't go too far, but cast Prestidigitation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just going to create like a quick quick lights to just kind of grab his attention so that he'll look at him, and then he'll point east. Before the horns.
Okay. So you get a little...
Basically, yeah.
You get a little bit of a crackle pop to get your attention, Saffron, and then you see Win pointing east, where more or less your back was turned to, and that's when you notice the troops and they blast their horn at the same time.
All right, he'll lag for about 3 seconds, interpreting if it's a wave or whatever, but he'll acknowledge with a kind of a mid-level bow. Do I have the ability to do anything on a reaction, or
yeah,
am I just...
It's your scene, you guys. You can move about. I haven't stopped you for any reason.
All right, well then Saffron will kind of continue to move down, and if he can, he'll try to stealth behind a rock to obscure his exact location.
Sure, go ahead. Roll stealth again. Okay. You disappear into the brush.
Love it.
Patrol happy.
Did Barlow notice them after the horns?
Yeah, I mean, you all heard the horn.
Okay, would Barlow recognize the horn, probably, or...?
No, it's just a generic horn blast.
Gotcha.
Jericho would have immediately stood up and turned toward the east, just kind of, fingers twitching, slowly reaching toward his greatsword just a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Barlow would also stand up and kind of like try and position himself to see where the sound came from.
Can I can still see the man that they were talking to, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so while that's happening, can I continue to watch that character? I want
sure.
to see their reaction to when the horn blows.
He kind of looks up and tries to peer around Barlow and Jericho. Can't really see what's going on, so he kind of scoots a little bit
Uh-huh.
over. He gets an eye on the troops there, and his
Mhm.
eyebrows perk up, and he breathes out kind of like a little bit of a sigh of relief.
Okay.
Anything else you guys would like to do?
Other
Barlow's
than Catherine moved up to be next to Wynn to keep a better eye on things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you
Yeah,
you do see this this forward patrol.
yeah, Barlow would just kind of wait for a while because it doesn't seem like the other people in his team are panicking or anything.
Okay.
All right. Wynn will step out and just greet them.
Okay. How do you greet them?
What do I know about their culture?
The
Is it something that I would have studied in school?
You're aware that the Mardosians are big donors to the military school.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the 3 big donors. They're one of the 3 big military houses. So they're very martially inclined.
Okay. So part of Wynn's schooling was things like military history and kind of strategy. So is there a chance he would also know the proper greeting to use?
Oh yeah, I mean, for between the two of you, there's no formal connection.
Okay.
So you can kind of greet them as fellow citizens if you'd like, which would put you guys on even terms.
And they would know the black and red.
Yes, they would know that
Okay.
you are military specifically, and Catherine is also specifically military.
Okay.
Barlow also wears like his house colors.
Yeah, they'd be
Same for Jericho.
yeah.
And also he has like an emblem on his shoulder of the anti-mandibles.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it feels dishonest to just watch. So knowing the history, knowing that they can meet on even terms, he is gonna do the just meeting as citizens to acknowledge the presence. Because otherwise they could think they're getting ambushed, and that's not good either. So
Yeah.
just kind of having a, blatant foot forward to say, yep, there's a troop here. So
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm just waiting for them to be in view of Barlow because I feel like he'd immediately recognize the banners and colors.
Okay. You'd be able to see the banners by now. That rock's not that big. This guy moves up after kind of hand signaling the others. He comes about 20 feet up, so he's within loud talking distance between you. He says, "Sir, ma'am, how are you? How are you both this fine day?"
Still alive, still kicking. Self?
We're good. I'm Graf Macklin, knight captain of this cohort. Just doing the regular patrol between Fordeth and Mardosia. What are you all up to here? Anything we should know about?
Well, do we tell them when or not?
Barlow would approach and give a salute. Is there a particular like house salute, or is it pretty generic between the different houses?
You would not salute them based on
Okay.
your social rank.
Yeah. He would wave then in greeting. Does he recognize the man?
No, not specifically. He's wearing a full covered helm, so you can't see his face. And you missed his introduction.
Gotcha. So I didn't hear him ask the question?
No.
Okay. Barlow would just kind of come up and be like, "Greetings. Good to see some of our soldiers patrolling around. What seems to be... Is there an issue?"
No, just figuring out what's going on here, sir.
Oh, good to know. He'd turn to Lieutenant Thaddeus, or Wynn, and Catherine, and just kind of as a general, like, did you tell him anything kind of look?
Wynn will raise an eyebrow and address the patrol and acknowledge that they are here on business for out of Fortith.
Okay.
That's so everybody can hear. That's yeah.
Gotcha.
So do you tell him the full like story of what you're here for, or do you just say you're?
No, that's what I said, is that we're here on a mission from Fortith.
Oh. He says, all right, anything that we can help with?
Barlow thinks for a moment and then looks at the rest of his team and then turns to Wynn, and says, "I don't think we need any help." What would you say? Oh, this is specifically to Wynn, by the way.
Knowing that they have representatives from the area in their group, Wynn would probably trust the patrol. There's no reason not to at this point. So he will explain that they are to address the Ithe in the area about the possibility of allying to protect their empire from the threat in the south, and just see kind of what their responses are, and if they seem to have any sort of recognition when the Ithe are mentioned.
Okay, go ahead and make an insight check.
Okay.
Catherine's going to make an insight check too as she listens to Wynn talk.
Sure.
I guess Barlow would too.
Okay.
$26.
It is not my that. There we go.
Okay, and then we wait for a few seconds for it to show up.
I'm pretty sure that at this moment, because he rolled absolute like crap, that he is quivering in his boots because diplomacy is not a class that he took in school.
Yeah.
He's just a lieutenant. He didn't even have a team.
Yeah, that's Barlow's job.
Hey.
Huh?
can't get the roll to happen.
No,
Oh, yeah.
is it not working?
Mother. There it goes. There it is.
Ah, there it goes. All right, 12. He kind of shifts uncomfortably at the mention of the Ithe. You get the impression, Catherine, that he doesn't like that. You get that impression mainly because you've seen people in full armor shift uncomfortably, and it kind of matches the same movement. He doesn't like the sound of that. Barlow, you're kind of like reading what is there of it. Hi, Ram. I see you circling yourself. You're kind of reading the situation like, well, he seems to understand, but this guy probably doesn't agree with the whole sentiment. He nods and he says, well, I guess if that's your mission, that's your mission. As much a non-committal statement as there's ever been. And he kind of shrugs. Ram, was there something that Saffron wanted to do?
Yeah, minus the mouse travel. Actually, he would just blatantly whistle with a handful of dandelions and crabgrass, and walk towards the others and look to the east and say, long is the mile to whom is tired. Can I offer you water, good sirs?
Oh, that's very kind of you. Not really in need of it, but kind nonetheless. Thank you.
He'd just give a bow, and he says, well, let your travels be safe, and the land be under your rule, and just kind of give a bow.
He seems unsure of what to do with himself.
Perfect.
Or Barlow would give the soldier just like a calming gesture. Be like, he's with us. Don't worry about him.
No, okay.
Alright, well, it seems like you guys have your own work to do. So we'll let you be on your way unless you have any more questions for us.
Not really. Yeah, we're probably gonna get close here and get ready to clear this area, make sure everything's fine for the caravan back there, and then move along. We're not that far behind you, though, if you need help. So.
Okay.
Do you have information that could help in regards to the Ithe and their movements?
Speaking of, you should have a document in your folders regarding the Ithe. And I will give you guys observer status on that now. Observer. Where the hell is Jer? There he is. There's Darrow. Save. You should have observer status of that now. He says at the question, we deal a lot with the Ithe. We, more or less share our territory with them, not in a good way. They're hard to fight against. They're scrappy, pretty insane. I would say that they just don't quit for some reason. And a lot of the time, casualties are over the top.
Wynn exchanges a glance with Catherine.
Uh-huh.
We knew what we were getting
Yeah, the back of my neck's scratching too. Back of my neck's itching too.
Yeah. Barlow will just kind of frown and think, kind of worry that maybe his first mission will end in some amount of failure.
Coming back alive is not a failure.
My intention is for a peaceful resolution, but Unfortunately, from what we know of the Ithe, it's probably not going to happen.
That's why you've got me here.
And I'll be glad to have your company. Thank you, Jericho.
I mean, who would actually look at this face? I'm gonna kind of do this lopsided grin with my scars all over my face and actually want to listen to what I have to say.
Well, after all the time we've spent traveling, I hope you understand I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I get that.
The merchant interrupts and says, "Is the road safe east, sir?" The house captain there says, "Yes, our group has cleared the road far east to Forteth over the past week and a half." The man nods and says, "Well, it was lovely meeting you all. I have wares to deliver and things to get on with. Thank you all for the conversation in the morning." And he nods and he begins on his way.
Nice meeting you. He'll cry.
Did we ever get his name?
Nope.
That's what I thought.
All right, mysterious merchant.
I was just typing that.
We'll just call him Bop.
Definitely not his name.
Yeah, right. Barlow will just kind of point out to the soldiers. Just one last thing before you go. He'll point out to the south, to the Salamanders. Do you know if there's salamander farms down there, or are they wild? Because there's a group of them grazing over there.
He climbs up onto the rock and kind of stares. He says, "I can't tell if they're branded or not from here, but they're kind of acting like they would be wild."
Okay, well, just, I guess, keep an eye on them on your travels.
That's quite a few of them, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we probably wouldn't want to spook them.
I wouldn't worry about them so much, but if there's a greater salamander around, it would make sense with that number of them.
We will keep an eye out. Thank you for your input.
All right. He hops down off the rock.
All right, well, unless there's anything else, Barlow would step out of the way to let them pass.
They're kind of actually fanning out a little bit.
Ah. Well, he will try to not get in their way.
General sweep, that's all.
Mm.
Okay, what are you guys up to?
King 6.
Checking 6. Graf Macklin on by the rock. Alrighty. But seriously, what are you guys up to?
I guess we would continue on our way.
All right. You guys begin to continue on your way. As you kind of start to head back towards the highway thing, the highway platform there, go ahead and give me a perception check.
All of us?
Whoever is paying attention to the area.
I'm still watching the sides and the back, so it's up to you if you want me to roll for
Feel free.
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a 15.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna move you guys as a unit a little bit to
When you see air.
to here. Yeah, when you're not really noticing what's going on here, I'd say the only person who would notice is Saffron. And it's almost as if Graf Macklin's words were prophetic. You hear snoring coming from over this little hill here. Saffron does.
All right. Saffron will approach. Would I call it stealthily or just with awareness, maybe survival? But he'll go investigate wherever that is.
That would be over here somewhere.
Okay, he's gonna walk over there, kind of like, hey.
Okay. The snoring was not quite human. So as you approach, you're kind of expecting an animal of some kind, a horse maybe, or that sort of thing. However, it is a curled up greater Cruinthian salamander.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a freaking boy.
He'll have visions of Barlow real quick, and he'll try to obscure himself.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check.
The rest of us haven't noticed it yet, right?
No. Saffron, as soon as you get over that hill there and you see this large horse-sized or bigger salamander, it's a large creature. It's got a mane, it's got a big horn on its snout, it's got some spikes along the mane, it has got some leathery reptilian skin, big teeth coming out of the maw there. Its eyes are closed because it's taking a nap, but it also has large claws on its legs, and its legs are arranged in such a way that it could claw or maul someone, as well as being very adept at running at great speed as well. This creature is kind of an oddity of Cruinthe. It's one of those things that, like, generally Cruinthians kind of accept as their reality, but from a learned perspective, not really a sensible form of the creature that you know as the regular Cruinthian salamander, which is sort of like a little lizard about 12 feet long at most, is omnivorous. This variety is definitely carnivorous only. So
Yeah. So regardless, that was an excellent description, by the way. Not to undermine it. But it's scaled, it has claws and teeth, and Saffron would definitely disengage as much as he could back to the main group with a paranoid, wide-eyed look on his face.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, you can scoot over back to the group. It's not awake yet.
Okay, so he goes back and he walks up silently and kind of doesn't talk but points with his hands, index fingers pointing, and he says, "Big, big, big." And he waits for the reaction of the others.
Barlow would whisper and say, do you think it's the greater salamander?
Saffron would look at him with intensity and hold his four fingers up to his jaw, kind of showing teeth. He goes, "Teeth, claws, yes." And he'll...
Barlow will look towards the soldiers. I'm assuming they're still around.
The house soldiers they're at their positions. They're kind of doing a sweep, so it looks like Graf Macklin's kind of like stepped up on that little hill there, and he's kind of watching his other two guys go into the brush over here and make sure that there's no ambush lurking in this brush. The other leader over here is doing the same thing with these two guys. They're occupied, and they're not paying at all attention to what you guys are doing.
Would Saffron see him from where he is? I guess he's up here somewhere.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Yeah, you can see him.
Could he, I guess, shadow step over there? He has a 60-foot range on that.
Yeah.
And he'll go over there, and he'll just announce to him, saying "Salamander," and point to the direction where it's at.
Okay, you cast mage armor on yourself.
Barlow would, when he saw Saffron go over to the one leader, would probably stealthily make his way over to the other guy. So he doesn't alert the salamander. Do you want me to roll? Stealth or...
Yeah, go ahead and roll stealth.
Not great.
No, not great. Okay. So as you start to like scooch over towards that guy, you hear a kind of like a big yawn, and the creature's head pokes up and it turns and it sees you guys. You're probably about here when it makes that noise.
Oh, great!
You hear its bones pop as it stretches, climbing over this little hill here. And we're going to take a break before we go to initiative, because this creature does seem to be hungry.
Oh no!
Way to go, Barlow.
So,
bro, I have expertise in stealth.
You rolled poorly, so.
Yes. Oh.
You did.
It's always one roll.
I think
one important roll.
That Catherine has her bow.
I think I've messed up one important
Before we get back
roll in
into it,
every
Catherine
game.
has her bow out.
You have your bow out. Sergeant Catherine has her bow out.
Oh, great. We have 2 more to go. She's always had her bow out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take a break for about 13 minutes. Be back at 8:30.
Copy that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
5:30. In a bit.
7:30.
Bye.
Okay. Switching to intermission. No, we're rolling.
Sorry, not perception.
We're rolling initiative.
Initiative.
I'm waiting for your son, so I'm not here yet.
Okay. Which son?
You have the other one.
Oh, that's right, I do. So the old boy. Okay. Everybody roll initiative.
Oh.
11.
Where is that again? There it is.
On the fist, you'll see the D20.
17. Woohoo!
Second tab on the right bar, the fist.
Oh, I see.
Click it and you'll see the D20.
I'm just waiting on Jericho.
I don't.
You've already rolled your initiative.
Oh, apparently I have.
I was having trouble figuring out. Wow.
Oh, I had a lot of lag, I guess.
Yeah. Not 20 there, Jericho, on that initiative roll.
He's taking all the 20s.
Wait, it didn't input.
Yeah, it's still blank.
What is your initiative bonus? +1? Okay. Update combatant to 21. Okay.
Of course, it
All right.
things always play out that way.
The Greater Cruinthian Salamander goes first.
Of course.
It wanders over the fire. Looks at you all. And uses its fire breath.
Oh no.
Damn it.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
Oh dear. I haven't even raged yet. Can't be this. It can't be the end.
We are so fucked. We are so fucked. I'm proper fucked.
Okay. Jericho, Thaddeus, and Catherine, give me dexterity saving throws.
Just click on deck for that, right?
Yeah, you just click on
Just
dexterity.
click on Dex, right?
Yeah, and then it'll give you the pop-up, and then you click save.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, actually,
Orma.
I think I have a thing for that, don't I?
Danger sense, yeah, you get advantage.
Yeah, I sure do.
Oh boy.
Ah.
So I need to roll again.
You do. Even worse.
Oh no.
Oh no. We're just waiting
Pull out
on
the dice.
we're just waiting on wins, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll damage. Alright, Jericho, you fail. Catherine, you fail. 19 points of fire damage, both of you.
Jesus.
Fuck.
Intermission, TPK.
Thaddeus, you fail.
I'm sorry, who?
Win, sorry. You also fail your dexterity saving throw. You also take 19 points of fire damage.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
That is the end of the Salamander's turn. Jericho, it is now your turn.
Okay, so I just got fried.
Yeah.
And Jericho generally doesn't like getting fried.
Oh,
So now his eyes are a little wider. He kind of hulks out a little bit. You can see his muscles kind of stretching a bit. He just roars. So I'm going to enter a range and a frenzy.
Okay.
And I'm going to
Ooh.
walk on forward. Yeah, come on, let me walk forward.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I had it paused.
Come around the side and one attack and ooh, does a 20 hit?
A 20 does hit.
Nice. Alright, that's 12 damage plus my rage damage, which I need to make a macro for later. I will do that, I just realized.
Should be +2.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ha!
So 14.
Okay. 14 damage right off the bat. Let's do another one. Does an 8 hit?
No.
No, okay. And that's probably going to be the end of my turn.
All right. That is the end of your turn.
Mm-hmm. Can't
Um,
frenzy until next turn.
no, you can't, because that's a bonus
That's
action.
bonus action. Mhm.
Yeah. Your knight buddy over here, your, better than average soldier is getting his exclamation point above his head. He is now aware of what's going on. He rolls initiative. The fire blast basically tips him off that something's wrong, and he acts next turn. Thaddeus, actually win. When it is your turn.
Okay.
I'll get used to it. I'm sorry.
Win is he is going to retreat and look at Catherine as he does so. And try to just
Catherine
get
is
away.
going to cover his retreat.
We'll say here-ish. And will he is, sorry. I've said it once today, so let's try it. God, I hate these elementals where I don't quite know what's gonna be effective or not. Let's do Ice Knife.
Sure.
First level, just to see how it goes.
Fire breath go burr.
Sorry, the child is also being very obnoxious right now. Please leave.
Mm.
Please stop.
Understandable. 18 does hit.
Okay. And it had to do the dex.
Yep. It rolled a 20 on the dex save.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
And
Yeah.
none of my friends are in the 5 feet, right? We're
Nope.
good there?
You're good
Okay.
there.
Awesome. So then I do damage.
Yep. Nope. Yep. Yeah, you do damage because your 18 hit, but the splash doesn't hit him. All right, so 1d10 piercing is 9.
So it didn't get the D6, the 2d6?
No, because it passed the save.
Okay.
So you hurl this ice blade at it. The ice blade smacks into it, bursting into a shower of icicles that kind of shower the area right in front of it. It howls a little bit in pain, but it doesn't seem to be more damaged than, before.
Piercing is okay.
Yeah, piercing's okay.
Spooky.
Okay.
Actually, startled me a little.
And I think that's all I can do.
Okay.
So,
It is now Sergeant Catherine's turn.
Sergeant Catherine is going to cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
The sorry son of a bitch in front of me, and then she's going to shoot him.
Okay.
Attempt to.
Win has to end turn.
Oh, Win, is it the end of your turn?
Um,
The bonus action. Still can shoot him.
Oh no, I was talking. Was making sure Win was done their turn.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Win. Sorry.
No, I leapt ahead.
I was looking at my bonus actions just to make sure, but yes, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Yes. So you hunters mark him, and you are going to shoot him now. Go
Should
ahead.
be able to just click on that.
Yeah. If you go to your inventory, you hover your mouse over your longbow, and then you go to the left and click the die. It should throw the die for you. There it is.
If you.
Oh, 3 of them posted. You meant to do two shots or one shot?
One.
Just one? Okay.
Shots. What the fuck?
Do you have extra attack?
Not showing up on my.
It's not showing up
Don't. No.
Okay.
It's not showing, and nothing's showing up.
You do have extra attack, so you can attack twice.
Yes, I thought I did. Why isn't the showing up?
Do you see the first one?
Nope. Wait, there it is. It says okay, attack. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you could just roll the attack roll again for the second attack. So that first one hits at a 24.
Now.
And a 12 misses.
Okay. And how do I roll for its damage?
Just below the attack button is the damage button. In the chat.
Okay. Will it take my hunter's mark with it?
No, I'll have to add that. You'll have to roll that separately. It's okay. 6. And then is your hunter's mark a D6?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Let me check.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is too. Alright, so I just need to roll 1d6.
Yeah, so down there in the tray there should be a D6 icon.
Just click it, and roll.
Yep.
Yep.
Max on that hunter's mark damage. Very nice.
Sweet!
Okay.
And if I have anything left, I'm gonna back up
You
a couple of feet.
You certainly have movement.
Nothing's moving.
Okay. End of your turn?
It's my turn.
Okay. Barlow.
Okay, Barlow is going to walk up to the salamander.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm using the wrong tool. I can hit him from here, right?
Yeah, he takes up that whole footprint.
Okay. And he's going to attack him with his rapier.
Okay.
I believe that's how I do it.
Yep. Now you click on the attack, and then wait to see if you hit. 15? No.
Oh.
15 does not
Darn.
hit.
And then sorry, remind me, does disengage give you like extra movement?
No, but if you disengage, you do not allow them to get an opportunity attack on you.
Yeah. I don't have any movement left. So
You could dash out of the way with your bonus action because you have cunning action, but it would get the chance to hit you.
yeah, exactly. Let me just look at one thing real quick. Okay, no, that's all I can do. Alright, that's it.
All right. End of your turn. We move on to Saffron.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Were you praying for it to be dead by the time it got to you?
Yeah, I'm looking at my inventory and spell list, and really, the only thing he has is a dart that can possibly hit. But you know what? He'll take it. I think he's within range.
You're 35 feet from...
35 feet, yeah. So he'll kind of do, a Shaolin pose, going from like the snake to the stork to the dragon, and then he'll throw a dart at this massive salamander.
Okay. From there, it's a disadvantage because you need to be at 20 or closer to have a straight roll.
No problem. He'll take it.
Okay.
So at disadvantage, right?
Yes.
And system is lagging.
Yeah, it's a little... It can be a little slow sometimes. Just don't keep clicking.
I did. I know.
Because that'll slow it down. And then you'll wind up with like 15 attack rolls in the chat, and I have to purge them.
All right, it's not going. You want to roll it for me?
Yeah, I'll roll it for you.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. Public. Dart.
Disadvantage, yeah.
Wow. Even at disadvantage, a 21. That hits.
Yo.
Wow.
I'll take it.
8 points
Monk life, baby, the monk life.
Wow.
Wow.
The monk life.
8 points of pokey damage as you throw a dart at it from a little far away, and it just nails it right in the snout, and it looks so pissed off about it. Okay. It's now Graf Macklin's turn. Our intrepid soldiers are realizing what's happened. Graf Macklin is going to turn around. He's going to move up. And he's going to shoot it at point blank range with his crossbow.
Ooh.
And he's gonna miss. The as he brings it up to fire, he's also simultaneously drawing his greatsword. The crossbow bolt hits against the salamander's hide and splinters into 100 pieces.
Oh no.
You can hear the scoff from behind him as Saffron goes.
Definitely was not a bodkin bolt. Okay, that is the end of Graf Macklin's turn. Which brings us back to the Greater Salamander. Okay. At the beginning of its turn, it regains hit points as its wounds begin to seal. 2. It's not a lot. It's very slow. Okay. And now this happens. Ooh. Options.
Uh-oh.
Never
Hopefully,
get that.
yeah, hopefully good options for us.
Yeah, some kind of feat
It's going
to
to
watch.
eat the graph.
It's gonna kind of like move this way.
Ooh, attack opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have that, but as it's doing so, it is most certainly doing another fire breath.
Oh no. Well, I'm at least gonna attack it.
No.
Hold on. All right. Nope. Come on.
I'm assuming you're trying to put it towards us.
Yeah, I'm trying to rotate it. Eeh. There we go. And hiya. Dexterity saving throws from both of you. Jericho and Barlow.
Save. Where is that? Dex? Saving throw.
Jeez, these.
Ah, what the
Yeah. I'm supposed to be good at these rolls.
All right,
Right?
Barlow, you take 16 points of fire damage. Jericho, you take 8 points of fire damage. You barely made it.
I'd like to uncanny dodge.
You cannot uncanny dodge a splash
an
attack.
AoE, right? Yeah, you're right.
You need evasion.
Alright, I'll just use my reaction for an attack of opportunity then.
Okay. Attack of opportunity.
Same.
That's better.
20 hits.
Of course.
Why would you have sneak attack?
Attack of opportunity because there was another enemy by him.
Okay, just
Within 5 feet.
just making sure you know.
Yeah, if not, I could do my
Good call. Good call.
insightful fighter one.
No, you're fine. Just wanted to make sure you knew why you were doing it, and not just doing it.
Yeah, no. Larian taught me well.
Some people always roll it and then hope their GM doesn't ask.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Larian. Yeah, good one.
Mm.
Okay. Go ahead, Jericho.
All right. What?
Natural 20.
God.
Woo!
Nice.
I told you he's taking all the nat 20s.
28 damage plus
How do you
2
want to
for range.
finish this thing?
What the
I'm gonna run after it as it tries to run forward. Pretty much just jump over the flames and land on it with my sword directly in its back. And then I'm gonna keep hacking. Just yelling, "You won't burn me again, creature!"
All right, and you do so, pummeling it into an absolute bloody mess. You and Graf Macklin are showered with gore. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and end initiative. Well done, everyone.
I'm shocked we didn't die.
There. I'm impressed we didn't die. Also, Catherine says, ow.
Yeah.
Jericho
Yeah.
still hasn't stopped hacking at it. I just want to point that out.
Saffron's going to grab his dart out of the brow of the beast.
Barlow will just watch Jericho go to town, wincing a little bit.
Graf is going to get out of the splash zone and reload his crossbow.
I'm gonna say that Wynn goes a little silent, which Catherine would know is based upon his previous injuries. Being
Turn around and check on him.
being burned is not a great thing for him.
Saffron will also look to see if anything on the salamander is a good component for a potion or anything to add to his herbalism kit.
Okay. Salamanders are a natural creature. You can go ahead and roll a nature check and then a survival check to see if you can extract any component.
Copy that. Okay.
Okay. You're not super familiar with the anatomy of a greater salamander. Again, they kind of like boggle the mind a little bit when it comes to how does a salamander become a greater salamander. It implies that they're related somehow, but you're not really sure how that works. As you go kind of like poking around, you do find that there are some things within its body that can be potentially useful. You essentially gain some fire salts that seem to be part of its natural, its anatomy. So you can go ahead and extract 1 vial of fire salts. You can add that to your inventory.
Okay. Saffron would have would turn his nose at the smell until he figured out he was at the anus of the beast, not of the head, and would pocket the fire salt.
Sure. Okay. Meanwhile, Catherine goes to check on Wynn. Oh, let me go ahead and end that. Boop. Yes. There we go. These soldiers are all coming together. Catherine and Wynn, if you want to go ahead and have a scene, you certainly may.
Well, the thing is, I don't think we have any healing potions.
Mm-mm.
Don't.
So he
We'll get out
says,
without healing potions again, guys.
Yeah. He
Ow.
acknowledges.
Are you
he's
okay?
He's okay. He acknowledges. He just seems a little
Just
kind
went
of
quiet on him. Yeah.
haunted in the eyes a little bit, and when he notices Catherine come over and says, 1 foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other.
Friend of the other, in front of the other. When things are a little quieter, Kath is going to go and see if she can salvage her arrows.
Sure thing. Yeah, you can definitely.
If the barbarian left anything in them.
You can definitely salvage your arrows.
Great.
Jericho at this point has kind of stopped, and he seems a bit tired. I do have to add a level of exhaustion to myself.
Okay. Very good. Anything else you guys would like to do?
Barlow just kind of approaches Grath and just kind of chuckles and says, thanks for your help. As you can see, we sorted it out rather quickly.
Yeah, not much for me to do, though it was pretty quick. Yeah, good work. He nods and he starts catching up the other guy. He says, Kithrin, Greater Salamander, obviously. It's taken care of. Not a big deal. Let's get the guys back to work, huh? Yeah, all right. And they start to go back to their business.
Barlow moves over to Jericho and goes, good job. I knew bringing you along was a great idea.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's over.
You go ahead.
Me too, friend. Me too.
Okay. All right. So do you want to continue on your journey?
One foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other.
All right. You poke your quarterstaff at the corpse, Saffron, and you could perhaps get some choice cutlets out of it if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. He would. He'd look at it kind of ominously and maybe cut a couple of steaks from the fallen lizard.
Sure thing.
Who was the one that said they were hoping we hit one so they could cook it?
That would be
That was
Jericho.
Jericho.
Well, he'd probably give it a kind of a nod at Jericho. Go, some flank steak or prime rib.
Tenderloin.
Jericho's gonna kind of just tiredly nod. Flank steak, for sure.
All right. You certainly gather enough meat off the creature. It is quite large to be able to feed yourselves for a while. Then you guys gather and begin to head towards the forest. So you arrive in the forest the next day. And it is... Malin Forest is one of those old growth forests. It's very much and we don't exactly have one of those one of those particular maps, but you do arrive to the spot just before the bridge. Your token actually would move here because of where the road is. Very briefly passes through this hex. The Malin Forest is one of those old growth forests. And the trees are very tall, the lower brush and shrub is kind of sparse. There's not a whole lot of it in some places, and in other places where a lot more light filters through, and where some of the smaller streams and such are formed, you can see that there are a lot more lush undergrowth. The undergrowth kind of does provide a variety of, bounties of the forest to it. We are in spring, so there is a lot of new growth happening right now, and a lot of plants coming out of dormancy. There is a variety of different trees here. This is both a deciduous and coniferous forest at the same time, because of the latitude, I believe. Longitude. The longitude that where you guys are on the world. Had to think about that for a second. It is also one of those places that isn't as dark as the fabled Skaraptica. Skaraptica is a very dark forest because the canopies are very thick and it's very difficult for light to get through and such. It is one of those places where when you enter Skaraptica, it is almost as if you are in a place that is always night. Here in Malin Forest and the other northern forests, such as Tessiac, it's not the same. These trees are a bit more or less, they allow a lot more light through. They're not as thick, and their canopies aren't as overdeveloped. It is less dangerous as a forest because of how well patrolled these roads are. And you generally can have a whatever kind of scene that you wish to have with each other during this time period as you're traveling towards where the bridge is. You will arrive at the bridge tomorrow, but you will need to camp tonight. So whatever you would like to do, you may do now within the bounds of reason.
At each other, Beth is going to patch Win up to the best of her ability, and to go to sleep. He's tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a good idea.
Jericho's going to, before we go to sleep, probably cook up some of that flank steak.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a dexterity check. Let's see how good you are
Okay.
cooking that
All right.
up. how well you
Can-
manipulate that in your iron pan, your cast iron pan.
Oh,
You got any?
That should be it. That should be an advantage.
Advantage for my
Can
mom's
I-
recipe.
Can I help?
Yeah.
Sure. If you'd, how are you going to help?
Well, so Wynn has shared that his family is a family of bakers. So it's not quite cooking, but he at least has a good sense of like what's done. And is familiar with cooking on the road, as that's something that he and Cass did frequently, actually.
Mm.
And I guess Saffron would look for local herbs that would season.
Oh, I
This-
got you. I got you for that.
You got me. Yeah, like I'd look for wild peppers
yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry about it. Wynn's got it. Wynn's totally got it.
Should I roll that check?
Yeah.
There.
Go ahead and roll that check.
And since they're helping, do I get advantage?
Sure thing.
Ayo.
Oh,
Ooh.
thank you, advantage.
So what Wynn's gonna do, and it's Saffron that was gonna go off and look for herbs, right?
Yes, that's what I
So-
believe.
So what Wynn does is he casts prestidigitation a couple times and adds in the flavor of the spices that they want to use.
Nice.
This is my favorite use of prestidigitation. I love it so much. He can do that up to 3 times and it lasts an hour. So once it's done and we say, yep, it needs a little bit more salt or whatever, he can make it happen.
Mhm.
And it tastes delicious.
As you get a perfect sear on it with that cast iron pan, and you use a little bit of butter to help keep the steak from, getting too seared and burned on one side or on any side that it's touching. You of course have it seasoned with some of the herbs and such that are located in the forest. And that little extra puff with the prestidigitation gets it, elevates the dish to that masterclass status, which allows you all to have a very nice steak dinner.
Salamander dinner.
Salamander steak dinner, yes. Okay.
Good old Manda chops.
Anything else anyone would like to do?
Saffron would again look around for any herbs or whatever to create potions. That's kind of his constant kind of MO.
Sure, go ahead and roll me a survival check.
Survival.
Yeah, foraging's always going to be survival, buddy. Ooh. Okay. 13. That's enough with your prior 8, I think it was, to get you enough herbs to brew a potion.
Okay. Do you need a roll for that, or do I just
For the alchemy of using the herbalism kit, it'll take it'll take overnight at the very least to finish the process, but you can get the process started and bubbling on the fire to do so. So go ahead and do a intelligence check for me, and you can add your proficiency bonus to this.
intelligence? Oh, yeah, not my forte.
Medicine, actually, because you are making a healing potion.
Okay. And it should be automatically added on the. Yep. I make mud.
Yeah. Unfortunately, your potion's gonna come out inert.
Let's hear him scoff in the background as he fails to create anything other than a burning, liquidous, viscous black goo.
You're not sure if it was the temperature of the fire was too high, or perhaps the herbs simply weren't mature enough, but it is not working out for you, unfortunately. Okay. Go ahead.
Ass
Yeah. Barlow,
is going to get out her dice set, and she and Wynn are going to continue their long-running game. I think Path is ahead by 10 million writs to Wind's.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. So how does that go for you guys?
Play dice. We've been playing dice for years.
Okay. So you do rollies? You just roll some dice against each other, or is it craps? I'm just curious.
Or it's craps, and anyone else we can entice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to play for real money, we can do that. But
Barlow is, I think he has proficiency in dice sets, but I wanted to have him do something else.
Okay.
Oh.
What are you going to have Barlow do?
I was gonna have Barlow just kind of scout around the area. So as an inquisitive rogue, I have an ability called Eye for Detail.
Okay.
Use a bonus action to make a perception check to spot hidden creatures or objects, or make an investigation check to uncover deciphered clues.
Okay, so you're going for perception?
Yeah, because I just want to make sure like everything's clear and no one
Sure.
is hiding or nothing is hiding nearby.
Okay.
Let me find it.
You rolled Saffron a 13 on your survival check, right?
Correct.
You did find a patch of mushrooms as well when you were moving out. You can roll a nature check to see if they are what kind of mushrooms they are.
Absolutely. Nature. Oof. Nice.
That was almost really bad. I saw that kind of want to be a 2, but then it moved to an 18.
Thank you, dice.
You did actually find 2 groups of mushrooms. One of them is, just a regular garden variety, delicious like set of morels, and another one is the potentially fun times kind of mushroom.
Hallucinogens, right?
So you've got a couple of those. And then as you're kind of walking back, you find yet another patch of mushrooms, and you're pretty sure these are poisonous. Do you want to take them?
Yeah, he'll be sure not to touch them, but I guess, I don't know if the herbalism kit has the ability to put samples into a vial or whatever, but yeah, absolutely.
You could try to render down these into like a rub for weapons or arrows if you'd like.
Sure. How would I do that?
You would again use the herbalism kit, so this would be basically the same processes as medicine again. So you would go ahead and roll a medicine check, and your level of success will determine how big of a die you get to roll. Okay. You can roll a d6, and that's how many doses you get. Big one. Okay.
All right.
Well, you have 1 dose of deadly mushroom poison.
Perfect. I'll take it.
Yeah. So you can add that to your character sheet.
Okay.
So that has a Constitution save with it. So when you make an attack with a weapon that is prepared with this poison, once you hit somebody with it, the poison is gone on the weapon. But the poison lasts for 24 hours. The character is poisoned if they fail the Constitution saving throw. And regardless of whether or not they save or pass the con save, they take 5d6 points of poison damage.
5d6? Nice.
Yes. It's incredibly toxic. So... Okay, and Barlow was making a perception check. He rolled a 27. You search around the perimeter of the camp right before, you guys get really settled in, and you find that in this nearby gully, someone has died here. There is a skeleton human clutching a weathered envelope in one hand with its other hand resting over a chest. You pull the envelope free, and the bones of the hand collapse to the earth. You open the envelope, and it appears to be an order form requesting artisanal supplies in a village near Mardosia. Payment was supposed to be included, so there should be money here somewhere. You do find that there is the chest. It is made of woven banded iron, and is kind of like under his hand, but he also looks like he tried to pull some leaves over it to hide it a bit. You saw through that immediately, but it appears to be locked. You can take it. You can take both those things back to camp, or you could search the body a little bit more if you'd like.
I'll search the body a bit more.
Okay. Roll an investigation check for me.
Investigation. 17.
17. Okay. Yeah, you find a small leather pouch next to him. It's not as desiccated. It's got some holes in it, but it's got like 15 writs inside. So that must have been the payment that went with the request for the artisanal supplies.
Awesome.
So you can keep that, or you can give that to somebody, or you can spread it to the party, or you can try to fulfill the order, later in life. Whatever you want to do with that, that's yours.
Okay. The chest in particular, I just kind of want to see if it's trapped, I guess.
Okay.
I don't imagine it to be, but...
I'll apply that scrutiny with the current investigation check you've already rolled, unless you want to try again.
No, that's fine.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be trapped.
Barlow would attempt to open it
Okay,
with his thieves' tools.
Do you want to take that back to camp first, or you want to open it here?
Let's open it here.
Okay. Roll a lockpicking check. So that would be sleight of hand.
And my sleight of hand isn't that great.
What?
You add proficiency if you're using your thieves' tools. So what is your sleight of hand?
Could Saffron help?
+3.
Okay, and you're not proficient, but you're using your thieves' tools, so that's another +3, so +6 total.
Okay.
Saffron doesn't know that this is happening at the moment.
Okay, got it.
So.
And then +3 to that.
18. That's enough. You pick open the lock. It's not a very complex lock. Inside, it looks like these are like supplies that he had on them. They're definitely military grade. They're marked to belong to the military inside. The felt on the top of the chest is that bright scarlet felt that is on, military banners. There is a black, symbol. You're not familiar with what the symbol is. It belongs to a battalion of some kind. There isn't an overall symbol for the Cruinthian military. You know that. But the various companies and battalions have their own symbols. You're aware that Catherine was a member of the Salamanders.
Okay. And the supplies are just like general supplies. They're not the ones that were mentioned in the envelope.
They're not the artisanal supplies, but they are military grade supplies. There are 4 healing potions in here and 2 fulmination.
Oh.
So grenades, basically.
Yes.
Handle with care.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay. I guess I'll.
Yay, grenade.
Right. Fulmination potions are fun. So I guess I'll head back.
Or
then.
values of.
Okay, you bring you bring everything back. Are you hiding it, or are you just bringing it back to the camp?
I'm bringing it back to the camp.
Okay.
I'll keep the writs for now. But the healing potions I'll pass out.
Okay.
Probably 1 to Jericho. I'll keep 1 on myself. 1 to Catherine, because she tends to stay back.
Okay.
And then 1 to Win.
Sorry,
because
Saffron.
yeah, I mean, he thinks Saffron can handle himself quite well.
He'll make one eventually.
But the fulmination potions, he'll give one to Saffron because he saw how adept he was at throwing that dart, and he'll explain to him what the fulmination potion is. It's basically an explosive. You pop the cork and then you throw it at the enemy. Be sure that you don't throw it around allies and you're not near it when it goes off.
Don't drop it.
Yes, that too. And then he'll keep the other fulmination potion.
Okay, so I'm just making sure that the people who are supposed to get one gets one. Barlow, Catherine, Wynn.
Are you adding them, or should we?
I already added them, and Jericho should have healing potions, and then we should have fulmination potions. Both of them are going to Saffron?
One's going to Saffron, one's staying with Barlow.
Okay.
Do you mention where you found all this when you brought it back?
Oh yeah, he would
Okay.
mention that he found a body, and he would also show the like emblem to Catherine, and I guess to Wynn as well. See if they know what it'd be.
To win.
Do we?
Do we roll DM?
Go ahead and roll a history check to check your knowledge of who that would belong to.
Can Barlow help? Because he's proficient in history.
You could.
Wow.
Nope, we don't know this unit.
You don't know. No. I mean, you could. You don't really. You're proficient in history, but you don't really have that military background that would give you insight into the various units and battalions and such, and what their heraldry is.
So,
Even as a like Corinthian knight.
Do you have the knight background?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, you can roll the history check. Yeah.
GM.
Yes.
So, Wynn also had that military history class in his schooling. Is there any chance that would have given him advantage?
Sure.
All right.
22.
I'll do just another straight roll and see what happens.
What is that dog's problem?
Boy.
She has been the absolute worst
Oh
today.
my god.
Just so you know.
Okay. It's always when we're running a game is when she's the worst.
I know.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's because she's wearing the monster clothing. She's a method actor.
She is a method actor. She is in her little monster outfit. And she's the worst when she wears it. She feels powerful in it. I guess that's what it is, and, unstoppable. Okay, so this unit is...
Happy you need to get her a fairy outfit?
I don't think that'll help things, unfortunately. This unit...
Don't trust the Fae.
Doesn't belong to 1st Expeditionary for starters. So that's kind of why you're not very familiar with them. They are a heavy infantry battalion, and they're more or less assigned to the general Fort Ithe area, which makes sense for where this was found. This unit is the Black Griffins.
Okay. I guess Barlow would just keep it in mind. And then I guess the next town that they get to, or if they end up running into more military members, would kind of have them pass a message about the dead person.
Yeah, it's kind of a... go ahead and... Members of the military, go ahead and roll and invest I want to say, insight check here.
That would include Barlow, right?
Yes.
I figure Jericho qualifies.
Jericho is a member of House Forces,
Ooh, that's a good point. Okay, never mind.
so you don't qualify, sadly.
I got a 5 anyway, so.
Okay. I'm getting feedback from somebody.
Yeah, me too. Is that me?
No, I don't think it's you.
I'm not sure who it's coming from. Because no one's lighting up in Discord.
Yeah, it's. I thought it was like a fuse effect for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
oh god, we're about to explode.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be me? No.
Could it be?
It could be Foundry.
Yeah, I was about to say the music or something.
Oh, it just ended.
No, I still hear some background noise, unfortunately. Let me see if it's...
Oh yeah, like a small hiss.
Yeah. It is coming through on stream, too. I'm going to turn that down. That should cause it to disappear from the stream. Okay. So you guys might have to speak a little louder for the output to catch up with you.
Okay.
Okay, so you're kind of getting the feeling that this guy found this. This wasn't his. It doesn't make any sense because why would he have this letter, right? And this chest. The military doesn't fulfill that sort of duchy to private artisan or village to private artisan sort of requests. They don't do that kind of, courier work at this point. There's no, they don't do that work. So why does he have this? It doesn't make sense. So the two things that you found are kind of in juxtaposition. So he's either a member of the military and he stumbled upon this letter, or he took it upon himself as like an act of charity to the village, in which case he would be part of a team that is based in Mardoja. It's gone now, so I'm going to turn you guys back up.
Okay.
He would be part of a unit that was based in Mardoja, but he's not. This chest is from a unit based in Fordeath. So, that doesn't make any sense. So somehow he got this. It looks more likely that he found this chest and decided to keep it, but got hurt or was killed in the process, and just wound up here. So it's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
So
Do we know what killed him? Like what he actually died from?
that would have taken a medicine check, and he's back in the gully. You can go take a look if you want.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Saffron would go and definitely assist.
All right.
Yeah, it's piqued Barlow's curiosity.
Yeah, go ahead and roll that medicine check.
All of us are just...
Those looking.
Gotcha.
Is going to stay back at camp because somebody's going to have to rescue their asses if they get in trouble.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, he flipped. He flipped mine to a 13. Does that count?
No.
Dang it.
Wow.
Wow. Those are some bones.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, them some bones. You're not. He got turned into bones somehow. You're not sure.
Is there any other clues in the area outside the medicine check, like prints or
No, he's been here long enough to become desiccated. So
Yeah.
That's
say
what,
eye for detail.
That's what Saffron says. Is he's been here a while.
You don't
Didn't
say.
think to roll it myself because my medicine ain't good, but damn.
Yeah, you probably do better than that roll.
May as well, right? You're probably gonna get another nat 20.
as far as I'm concerned, Jericho, you and Catherine are holding down the camp. So
That's fair, yeah.
and it's back.
Damn, I just sent you a message.
Okay. Yes, you do.
Okay, so because this is then a skeleton on its own, I don't know how many others would have encountered this or know about this, but I would like to not have that around and probably burn the bones is I'd imagine what we would do.
Sure thing.
Okay.
And you go ahead and you burn the bones. All right. Satisfied that this guy's never going to get up again, you head back to camp and you get ready to set in for the night.
Uh-huh.
Who would like
Pretty
to
much.
Who would like to take first watch?
Barlow
will.
can. Oh, you can do it. I'll take second then.
She'll take first watch after she makes Win drink his healing potion.
Win is going to go to rest and hold on to the healing potion. I'm alright.
Saffron, since he has dark vision, will take a night
Win
shift.
gets a look.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's night already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting dark already. So go ahead, Catherine, and roll a perception check for me.
Sure.
Okay, 14. You're kind of... It's a quiet night for the most part. And then you see a crow kind of settle in a tree nearby, and you're like, huh, that's curious. Then another one settles. And then another one. And they all start cawing at you guys.
Jericho kind of struggles up. I'm gonna catch a crow if they don't quit that.
And the longer it goes on,
Kath grabs Jericho. Stop it.
the longer it goes on, the more of them gather around you guys and caw at you.
Okay, survival or nature to figure out what's going on?
Nature, if you'd like.
I got nature. Come on. Oh. I ever seen this before?
Have you ever seen this before? This is unusual behavior.
Mm.
Does it trigger any things in the back of her head? Because this is her turf.
Honestly, this is the sort of thing that this is a superstitious kind of thing. This is the sort of thing that happens when, like, a group of people traveling. This reminds you of something you've heard, in the hills of the Western Darthaks, growing up where you grew up, in the Leata Duchy. Of, like, your parents telling you to not stay out in the woods at night alone. And it's kind of making you feel like there's some kind of supernatural force watching you guys. Because there's this little, like, poem that you all know about. Let me see if I can bring it up.
This happens during first watch, so there was no long rest yet, right?
No long rest yet.
Damn.
Nope.
So hold on a second. Where is it? Ah, there it is. This is exactly how it goes. Caw, caw goes the hooded crow. I'm gonna turn that off real quick, the music. Bounding on two legs as he goes. His hood is long and black. I told you to stop. Stop. There we go. I will start over now. Caw, caw goes the hooded crow, bounding on two legs as he goes. His hood is long and black, like the feathers on his back. Caw, caw goes the hooded crow, like his brothers on the tree bough. In the dark he waits for true, to snatch a child or three or two. He waits in the dark of the alley, he waits in the dark of the gully, and in the dark of the night, and in the dark with a bite. Here comes the hooded crow. Caw, caw, you must not go. For you'll call the hooded crow. Caw, caw, and he will show. If you run to and fro in the dark without a care, then there is the hooded crow to snatch you as he will dare. Caw, caw goes the hooded crow as he eats you alive and whole. Down his gullet into his stomach you will stack. Caw, caw goes the hooded crow like his brothers on the bow. You have just become his tasty middle night snack. And that's the end of the poem that this reminds you of.
I push the fire up and turn my back to it and use my dark vision to see what might be out there.
Okay, you kind of give a scan of the woods. Go ahead and roll a perception check. Oh, you already did. No, that's your nature. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Advantage?
Yeah, because it's the woods.
$23.
23. It's just these crows, these asshole crows that are cawing at you guys. There's nothing really else around. You kind of skirt the edge of the firelight, just so the fire is behind you, so you can actually see out into the darkness. And there's not any movement. There aren't any sort of like lights from creatures' eyes watching you guys. So as you're looking about, there's nothing out there. You're pretty certain that there's nothing out there, that you're alone.
Would they have waken all of us up?
Oh yeah, they're being loud.
I'm trying to remember, because my foundry is unfortunately frozen, but I think there was something about the Ithe taking high positions. Can I kind of encourage or gesture or start looking myself up towards the trees rather than out?
Sure, go ahead and give a perception check.
I can't, because Foundry is not working.
Oh, yes, I will roll that for you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to point out that Barlow would unsheath his scimitar and say, "Enlighten me," and then his sword will burst into flame. I believe it sheds bright light further than a normal campfire, 40-foot radius and additional 40 feet dim.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, and he'll also look around.
You don't see anything in addition. The light doesn't betray anything in hiding. But you may roll a perception check if you'd like. As for Wynn, you feel something ominous. And you're kind of, at first you're thinking, this is just nerves from the frickin' crows. But you get a sort of burst, a wave of powerful magical energy that kind of washes over the forest. And you can tell whatever that was disappeared with that burst. So something was here. There was a pressure that you weren't aware of because you were used to it when you walked into the forest. It sort of is like, I'm going to slowly wade into the water. And, before I realize, water's not really a good example, but before I realize it, I'm thigh deep in it, and a wave hits me.
So does that sensation feel like relief, or do I still feel on edge?
You kind of feel a little bit on edge because that whatever that was stronger than you. You can tell from the wave of energy that came over you. Definitely more powerful than you. So
have I ever felt anything like that before in the South?
You've felt things like that before in the South, of course. You've also felt things like that or on a similar power level as that in Fordeath, at the academy, your fellow sorcerers and such, extremely talented people as well. Someone like the Archmage, Deep Hollow, who you were in the room with, definitely gave off an incredible magical pressure that she doesn't seem to try to hide. This thing you didn't notice it until it left the area in a big way.
Okay. And is that something I feel because I'm more magically inclined, or is that
Yes.
something that the others would feel? Okay, so I will share that.
As you're feeling this, the crows scatter and they leave.
Okay. Just because I can, and I still have the spell slot, I'm going to cast Mage Armor again, because it's probably been more than 8 hours.
Yep.
So I'll do that, and I will, as everybody kind of feels a sigh of relief over the crows scattering, we'll share that we're being watched and that there's something magical, very strong, watching what we're doing.
Jericho.
Oh, fuck. Why is it always misfits? Why?
You can't be serious. It's just a nursery rhyme. You don't believe in nursery rhymes, do you?
I'll
Considering
try to
if I saw
explain
down on
more.
the southern border, look, yes.
Yeah.
Look, there's nothing out there. I'm gonna pull out a torch, kind of walk a little bit further from the campfire. Hello, stupid birds.
There's no answer. It's quiet.
I'm going to say the last time I felt that feeling, our entire squad was destroyed.
What do you mean?
Battalion got overrun. Yeah.
Overrun by what?
We were part of the first expeditionary force. Fiends. Scary things with teeth and swords and magic, and they eat you. You die. And you die, and you die, and you die.
I'm not saying that it's demons, but it's something strong. It hasn't wanted to reveal itself. It's not just a nursery rhyme. That's a real feeling. And I'll try to explain it a little bit more in a way that's going to make sense.
Do you still feel it?
I feel on edge that it's watching us, but it's not currently present. When the crows left, it left.
I dare someone to say the magic words from the nursery rhyme.
It went the other way around. You remember when it left, the crows left.
So I was more so doing it based on timing, but sure.
Well, I guess we should just keep an eye out for tonight. No use getting in a panic, I suppose.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep eyes out.
Yeah, Jericho kind of maintains kind of his facade, but he's got his sword out now.
Wynn will probably finish out the watch with Catherine if she'll have him.
Of course,
because it doesn't seem like having one person watching is safe right now, and he probably wants to stay up a little bit.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
The watch goes to doubles now. 2 people on watch.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now.
Jericho should probably go for the last watch so he can get his long rest beforehand.
Okay.
That exhaustion's no joke.
Barlow's still gonna do the second watch.
Oh, it's not.
Alright, so first watch is now Wynn and Catherine. So you two finish out this watch. Who is getting up with Barlow for second watch?
Saffron can.
Okay, so Saffron and Barlow are second watch. All right, let me just go ahead and scroll a little bit there. Do 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 do. All right. Okay. Okay. Each of you pick a number between 1 and 5 and send it to me in a private DM message.
Are you talking about all of the player characters or the ones on watch?
All of the player characters.
Okay.
Okay, how do we do that? Just through Discord
Yeah,
or?
Discord is fine. Okay. It's funny because each of you picked, like, only one of you picked a different number than everybody else, and two of you picked the same number, and two of you picked the same number. Okay.
Gotta go with statistics.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm gonna flip a couple coins.
And one of us secretly messed everything up.
The outlier.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna send you your number back to you. Ignore the letter if I sent you a letter with it. Okay. So during second watch, you're kind of looking around, you're keeping an eye out for things, and go ahead and roll a perception check. Saffron and Barlow.
Just pointing out again that he has his flaming scimitar out.
Sure.
The advantage or just normal?
That would just be normal.
Okay.
Oh, so for my ability, eye for detail, should it always be assumed that I'm using that when I'm doing perception rolls,
You
or
have to declare these things.
okay? I would also, I guess, like to use that ability if it helps in any way.
Let's see. Where is eye for detail on your sheet?
Oh, in features, active
Features, yeah.
abilities.
I see eye for deceit.
It's an active abilities. Eye for detail. You can use a bonus action to make a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object.
I see. And why is that 5? 5 there. Okay. Yeah, you can use that, I'll say.
Okay. $21.
This description is really lackluster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of noticed it too.
Dean. Stop. Stop, buddy. He just wants me to scratch, like, his shoulder. And then he's gonna wiggle.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody. 3 dogs is a lot.
You can use the bonus action to make a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, or to make an investigate. Yeah, that does literally the same thing a regular perception check does.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have any impact here.
Okay.
Yeah, this. I don't know why that's even an ability. It doesn't. I guess it allows you to do that in the middle of combat, but like a good DM would let you do that anyway. for a bonus
Yeah.
action, so it's kind of like, why is this here? That's the vibe I'm getting from it. So, okay.
Oh.
Sorry, that's just kind of my interpretation of that. It's like the way that it's described is just like, this is a thing that I would already give you.
Yeah.
That hiss is back. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it's called.
I have no idea.
Sunspots.
Anyway, so you guys don't actually see anything on your watch, and no creatures are like hanging out in the dark or anything. And as your watch goes on, it seems to get quiet again, and then you start to hear crickets and stuff, and like the life of a forest at night. Once that is, kind of the norm, a luminescent butterfly kind of floats into camp and lands on Jericho.
Does my sword wake me up? by
No.
any chance?
No, it does
No.
not. It just lands on Jericho, and then it kind of fades.
Like, just out of existence?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I do a check of some sort?
What kind of check would you do?
I could think of like insight to maybe try and determine.
Roll an insight check.
Oop. 24.
Your insight is that you are hallucinating. Because it is
Oh.
late and you are very tired.
Okay. Barlow would turn to Saffron and be like, he's gonna say this in Elvish, actually. And say, "Did you see that?"
Saffron, you saw that.
He would nod slowly. I did in Elvish.
Do you have any idea what it was? I think I'm hallucinating, but if you saw it too, then perhaps not?
Kind of out of character. Would Saffron recognize what it was?
You can make a. Do you have proficiency in Arcana?
In Arcana, no.
Then no. Unfortunately, you don't have the baseline knowledge to be able to make a check to recognize what that was.
So he'd shake his head and respond back, long as the night to him who is awake, and give kind of a questioning look.
Barlow will just kind of chuckle and nod at him and say, "Well, hopefully our watch ends soon." And with that, he'll go silent again.
Okay. Your watch passes without any other incident. Go ahead and begin your watch, Jericho, as you wake up.
Okay. All right. Do I feel any different?
Go ahead and make an insight check on yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And at this point, since I slept the whole night, do I lose that exhaustion?
Yeah, you've finished your long rest.
Love it.
Okay. Okay. You feel particularly good today. You feel like, I don't know, lucky or like blessed. Something feels better about yourself today. That shit last night. Nah, don't even worry about it. It wasn't even really like you got through the night. It was just a lot of yapping and albeit you were also jittery, right? And
Right.
you're understanding of that. Some people are more vocal about those feelings. You're not, but you acknowledge that the forest is fucking scary. And that crow shit was weird. But you guys,
Caw my ass.
you guys got through the night. You feel blessed, is what you feel.
All right.
I'll take it.
I love it.
So, anything else you'd like to do for your watch?
No. I'm just gonna chill and watch the sun come up.
Okay, are you gonna keep your eye out for things?
Yeah, essentially. If my sword warns me to, I'll be ready for it.
All right, go ahead and roll that perception check. Okay, 13. You feel blessed. Add a d4.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Sev- 17. Yeah, so, you're kind of like, you've got this good feeling, you're kind of being a bit insightful, and then you're like, well, I might as well do my watch, and then you go about, sprucing up the campfire for breakfast when the sun does finally come up. And you take a look around camp, everybody seems to have settled in, everybody's sleeping okay. You look around and your eyes catch the glint of, that iridescent sort of pale green that a predator with night vision has when they're looking at you in the night. Right? You catch a pair of those, and then you're like, oh, could be anything. It could be a wolf. That could be, big cat. That could be, a laundry list of monsters. Right? Like, okay.
Right.
But they're over there. They're over there in the woods, and then you see a couple more kind of spaced out a little bit in a tree and in among the brush, and then they blink away and they sort of like disappear one by one. You were being watched
Okay.
by something. They've left though, it seems.
All right. He's gonna lower his hand from his sword. He didn't even realize it had gone up yet. And go about preparing the morning fire for breakfast.
All right. Your watch ends without incident other than that, and all of you achieve a long rest.
Yay.
Awesome.
Is there any chance you can roll it for me? Because Foundry still is not working for me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Long rest. Rest.
Do you have any suggestions for how to make Foundry work?
Did you try refreshing the page?
I've refreshed like 6 times.
All right, then I guess close the page out. We're about to end for the evening anyway.
Okay.
So, it is 10 o'clock, and we have reached the point where I was going to end the episode anyway, so this was all good timing.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
Not a 6-hour
hit points
session.
back. Yay!
So you guys will begin your next episode in the, deeper in the forest of Malin, and you will continue on your journey. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We're going to go ahead and move over to this scene here and activate. Everybody come along. Thank you for coming out. Thank you, those of you that stopped by in the chat, in the Twitch chat, and in, to watch and to chat with us. Thank you for coming by for this game. I'm happy to have you here. Please remember to follow us if you'd like those notifications for when we go live. And if you're up for it, please subscribe. The money that you donate or that you subscribe to us will go towards mental health research and back into the channel for tech and other, boosts to the channel, such as emotes and that sort of thing. So your money doesn't go to me, your money goes to the channel and to mental health research. With that in mind, I'm going to call the evening, and I hope everyone had fun. So, and please feel free to join our community. Thank you for linking that Discord link, Gabby. With that in mind, I hope everyone had a good night, had fun, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for the second episode of Breaking Tradition. So, thank you.
Nice.